Hi, Romans here and welcome to another music review. I review every album from a viewpoint of a musician, as I'm a singer, songwriter and a bass player for my own group Jakobe. And last year we have released our debut album called Pursuits in Life. What makes it unique is that it's a pretty heavy prog rock without guitars. Instead you have drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards. You can check out 2 of our music videos on my YouTube channel. We're building our own monument and Fake the New Kind of Beauty, and also a studio live take of A Way to a Pose. In the description of all these videos you will find all the information about where is the record available. It's available on all digital platforms like Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp, but also in this digipack version of a CD with a very beautifully illustrated 20 pages long booklet. So in case you want one, all you need to do is contact me via an email, on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can get one through Bandcamp. And today I'm going to review the new album from Voyager, Colors in the Sun.
Music review. Music review.
Voyager is an Australian prog metal band, and I discovered them something like 5 years ago at the time when they released their 5th studio album, 5 or V. And I don't really remember that album that well anymore because I haven't listened to it since then. But I've checked the singles that they've released from the new album and I was really impressed. So I was really looking forward to this album. So I've heard it as of now 6 times. Let's dive right into the review. The first track on the album, Colors, has a great synth at the beginning, and then we've got the chorus that seems to combine that marching tendency of Rammstein along with those 80s synth pop melodies of like Depeche Mode, and it makes for a very interesting listen. I also like the fact that they changed the rhythm of the chorus towards the end, because we hear it quite often in the song, but this just makes it a lot more interesting. There are also some heavier, djenty parts that will kind of remind you that Voyager are still in their core a prog metal band. There are even some other tracks where we have these sort of a prog metal parts, like for example another single, Bright Star, which is again a very good and very catchy song. There are some 80s influences that actually remind me of the band The Midnight, which is more like a duo, and they play electronic 80s synth pop, new wave kind of thing. It's really amazing. Of course it's not very heavy music, but Voyager reminded me of them quite a lot on this album. Also, for example, there's a short track called Now or Never, which just reminds me either of The Midnight or of the Stranger Things soundtrack.
The friends we have will all just dream together. We haven't gotten this far. Is there a chance that we can go?
Another similar track is Runaway with those 80s electronics in it. And I also love the keyboard solo here. Personally, I wouldn't mind hearing more of these on the album. Severe Romance is a modern sci-fi metal track with just the right amount of 80s nostalgia.
So it's time to sever romance. So it's time to sever romance. So it's time to sever romance.
I also have to appreciate the singer's voice. It's very sort of deep, and he's very recognizable. I really like his voice. We also have a guitar solo in this track towards the end, and this was another thing that I sort of observed, that I think we have altogether like 2 guitar solos on this album, which is a pretty uncommon thing for prog metal bands, but it's been a trend on many records that I've reviewed this year. Another uplifting 80s influence track is Sign of Times. A little different is the song Saccharine Dream, which is slightly more on the metal side, but still the melodies are very catchy and very present. I also like that singer sort of tries something different with his voice, because he usually sings in the same range, like lower mids to lower notes, but in this song he also reaches some high notes, and it sounds pretty interesting. I liked it. Entropy was another song that they shot a music video for, and this was actually the first song I've heard from the album and the first song that made me want to check this album out. I really like the piano opening, and the melody that we hear in the verses is pretty cool. And then when the chorus hits, we hear Einar Solberg on guest vocals from Leprous, and this makes for a pretty drastic change in the song, so it's something I'm still getting used to, because it kind of sounds like 2 different songs. I really like the verses, but I would probably give this song a different chorus. Then we have some heavier tracks on the album, like for example Reconnected, which almost gets a little disco towards the end. And the song Water Over the Bridge. And both of these tracks remind me to a certain degree of David Townsend, which is a good thing. There are many records in the past year that I've reviewed where artists or bands were experimenting with 80s sounds, synthesizers and electronics, but it was usually very subtle, and I always ended up saying that, gee, I wish they developed it a little more. And this album seems to be like an answer for my prayers, because this is an album where I can't say that. They took those 80s sounds and synthesizers and they developed it so much that they actually became one of the pivotal parts of the album, and I totally love this record because of that. Also, the Voyager are maybe in their core a prog metal band, but this is not necessarily a prog metal album, because all those technical parts are reduced to the absolute minimum. There are literally like a few parts like that, and it's a very melody and sort of a song-based album, even with most of the tracks having the running time of approximately 4 minutes. It's a very short album, and it's also very easy to get familiar with. And I know that many prog snobs may see this as a sort of a disadvantage, but actually I think it's great, because the songwriting is so top-notch that you will want to keep coming back to this record even after you'll feel like it has shown you everything. I can't really think of any other record that would sound like this, so you should definitely check Voyager out. I've been listening to this album a lot in the past 2 days, and my wife with me, so what did you think of it?
I like it.
You like it? Why? What do you like about it?
Because of disco parts.
After yesterday, she told me in the morning that there were certain songs that she had stuck in her head, and she was... You were even singing some melodies, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. This album was a really big and pleasant surprise for me, and I can't wait to rediscover the older records from Voyager. So Have you heard the new album already? You can let me know in the comment section below whether you agreed or disagreed with me. If you're already a Voyager fan, you can let me know how well do you think the new album compares to their previous stuff. Maybe which album should I go to next, or which is your favorite album from them. You can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. You can find the links to both in the description of this video below. If you like this video, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. You can check out my own original music, my live performances, my worst to best series, and quite a lot of other reviews as well. Thanks a lot for watching.